Hey everybody, Neil Thompson from Teach the Geek here. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel as every bit helps. Have you ever heard about cognitive load theory? Essentially, what it is the theory has to do with how the brain processes and retains information. And as it relates to becoming a better communicator, I'd like to just talk briefly about it. So CLT for short, there's three loads that are associated with it. First one is intrinsic load, the second one is extraneous load, and the third one is germane load. So what do all these loads mean? First one, intrinsic load. That's essentially talking about the inherent difficulty in understanding material. So when it comes to just a topic in general, how difficult is it to understand? Certainly, there are some that are more difficult to understand than others based on our own baseline education and experience and just general knowledge. So that's one. Number two, extraneous load has to do with the unnecessary distractions that may keep us from learning something. So, for instance, let's just say you're listening to someone give a presentation and they use a lot of words you may not understand. That is that's what's considered extraneous load. It's something that is keeping you from understanding the information. And then there's three, which is the germane load, and that has to do with the mental effort that's needed to understand the material so that you develop that deeper learning. So, what does all this even mean just in the context of giving a better presentation? So, let's start with one, the intrinsic load. For instance, if you have a subject matter that's difficult to understand, you may think of breaking it down into various parts so that the person that's listening doesn't have to hear it all at one shot. They can digest the one part, then you move on to the second part, and they digest that, and this every part builds upon the previous part. So as opposed to just kind of hitting people with a data dump, which isn't the best idea, you hit them with parts and they can understand each part in time. So that's an example of intrinsic load. Extraneous, I gave a bit of an example of that. It's the use of excessive jargon. And in that instance, what you could do is use more commonly used words. I mean, there's so many instances in which you may be in a presentation and they're using words you don't understand. Use more commonly used words to explain the same thing, and you'll get much better understanding, and it limits those distractions. And then with number three, the germane load, we're talking about what's the way to get past that or to manage that. Interaction with the audience can help, asking questions to gauge their understanding, and they can ask questions back to really understand what you're talking about. That really helps in managing that germane load. So it leads to that deeper learning that I spoke about earlier. So to recap, when it comes to cognitive load theory, being able to manage or to process and retain information, there are three types of loads: intrinsic load, extraneous load, germane load. Intrinsic load, the inherent ability to understand the material. Extraneous load has to do with the inherent distractions that may come from understanding something new. And then the germane load is the inherent effort it takes to understand something, which you then get to the deeper learning from. So hopefully that's been helpful. I mean, this has been really interesting to learn more about it as I said, in the context of how you can give a better presentation. Again, my name is Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Until next time, take care and stay safe.